afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes. Kahit reaction button lang po. Ayan.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, James. Yeah. Okay. Um, welcome to our, I think this is our third or fourth webinar for this year, no, from Quintegral Philippines. Welcome to Avoiding Burnout. By the way, I am Sandra. I'm the operations head of Quintegral Philippines. I know you are excited to know more about how can you avoid burnout in this pandemic times. Actually, endemic na nga ata, no? But of course, before I turn you over to your facilitator, allow me to acknowledge the presence of our Senior AMA in-house facilitator and executive coach, Mr. Kelvin Celis. Are you there, Sir Kelvin? Yan, okay. Nag-heart siya po. There. Hello, Sir Kelvin. Okay. And of course, thank you, Kelvin. So now I would like to introduce our facilitator. She has over 30 years of management experience in the IT industry before co-founding Yoga Plus Inc. in 2010. And last year, July 2021, she received her certification as an associate specialist for energy management for burnout and sleep issues from the World Institute for Incurable Diseases. So timely, no? Now I'll turn you over to our facilitator, Miss Dina Salonga. Miss Dina?
Thank you so much, Sandra. Good afternoon, everyone, and to the how many 43 minus us participants. So around maybe 38 in the high 30s. So really happy to be here. My maiden appearance on the Quintegral platform. And so thank you so much to everybody from Quintegral for inviting me today. And thank you for that introduction, Sandra. So can we switch to the next slide? All right. So this is just a summary of what I do currently. So I'm a leadership development coach. I also facilitate and teach about mindfulness. And as Sandra mentioned, I recently got certified as an energy management specialist for burnout and sleep. So I'm hoping that I can teach you also some of the techniques I know as far as energy management is concerned. So before we get into our presentation or our discussion, I'd like to ask everyone to just type on the chat box. Can we switch to the next slide? Type on the chat box your name, where you're calling from, and what recently brought you joy. Yeah, and so too often we focus on problems. So what about wins or successes or moments of joy? So please share something on the chat box so I could get to know you a little bit better and I'll know some where you're located. I heard some people will be joining us from Singapore, Indonesia, and India. I hope they made it. Yeah. So even if it's a simple joy, like I had halo halo this morning, or uh, my partner brought me flowers. Anything that simple. So yeah, I'm waiting for you to type on the chat box. Good APE results. That's important. That's important. Oh, hi, Femi. I used to be from Pasig, so nice to see you here. Bulacan, my liberation notes. Oh, I haven't seen that K-drama. Is it good, Crystal? Is it worth watching? Good coffee in the morning. Darlene, where are you calling from? Spending time with nephew. Meat from Cavite. Chocolates. Oh, I just had my snack. Jem is from Baguio. Jem, I'm in Ilocos right now. Naimbag na daw. I don't know if you're Ilocano. Retail therapy, add to cart. Okay. I think we all love that, right? Shopee and Lazada is making really good business from all of us. So thank you, everybody. Continue to type, and I'll be glancing at the chat box from time to time and just checking in to see, hey, Ashley, you're the first one from Singapore. You managed to recruit a candidate. Yep, that's a good one to be joyful about. And yes, Gemali, naimbag nga malem. Okay, ganun pala yun. Ang alam ko lang, naimbag nga aldaw. So thank you. All right. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so these are the things we're going to talk about today. You may have different reasons for being here and some expectations for being here, but this is what we're going to talk about. Signs and causes of burnout. One of the main causes of burnout is stress. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to also talk about energy management because burnout usually refers to being depleted of energy. So I'll teach you more about energy. I'll teach you some techniques to improve your energy level. And at the end, I hope that you will be able to identify something you learned today that you will start doing by tomorrow. So that's going to be the end goal of this session today. All right, so let's go right in. Um, Maybe we can take a poll first. I want to find out, what is your reason for joining today? So can we show the Zoom poll, please? Okay, so I hope all of you have tried this. So you're seeing on your screen now an intro poll that asks, why are you here today? I'm already burned out. I want to avoid it. My members are burned out. I want to help my team avoid burnout, and the entire organization is burned out. Oh, wow, we have an answer for that. So most people are, okay, so we're at 47%. Type in your answers, please. So maybe we can wait until we have about 70, 80%. So far, most people are saying they want to avoid burnout. Some people are already burned out, and some want to help their team avoid burnout. All right, so we have about 28, I think half of 63% of the participants. Maybe a few more, one or two, and then we can show the results. All right, so we can show the results already. We can end the poll. I think this is already representative. Yep, please share the results. Yep, okay, so 70% of our participants are here because they want to avoid burnout. I think that's a very good strategy, right? Understand it so that you can avoid it. We also have some people who are already burned out and whose team members are already burned out. And we also have some strategies to help them get out of that state. Okay, so we can close the poll and proceed to the next slide. Okay. So many people have different ideas about burnout. But if you do some research, maybe even look at Google or talk to your doctors, there's no really clear definition of what burnout is. We know the signs, but there's no like medical definition for it. And in fact, there is no clear diagnosis for burnout. So if you are diagnosed with burnout, they would usually treat all of the symptoms that you are exhibiting, but not really directly touch on the burnout. So we'll just talk about first, what are the signs of being burned out? So those of you who said that I am already experiencing burnout, you can let me know privately, message me directly in case you don't want to share with everybody else on the session if you're experiencing any of this. Okay, first is depletion or exhaustion. You are always tired, always tired, always low bat. And then the second sign is you don't like to associate with people. Yeah, well, yes. Apathy could be a sign or a symptom of burnout. So being antisocial, you just want to be by yourself because probably you also don't have so much energy to socialize with people. And the third is being unmotivated to do things. By the way, burnout is usually associated with work-related issues. So very seldom do we hear that you're burned out about your relationships, about your marriage. So it's usually about work and in the work setting that we experience burnout. Yeah, so I have two comments here. And the first one was said that she feels apathy. And then the second one said, I'm just trying to survive for the day at work, right? So as we move on, okay, you can also decide for yourself whether these are the things that you are experiencing and whether your condition can really be categorized as burnout. In any case, I'm sure you will find something today that could help you with the current situation that you are in now, whether it is actually burnout or something else. All right, next slide, please. Aside from the signs of burnout, we'll also talk about the things that cause burnout. So maybe you will also be able to identify, okay, these are the things that I am experiencing at the moment. We can have internal and external causes of burnout. And usually the internal causes relate to our personality and the external causes relate to our environment. But in a way, the external causes are also influenced by our personalities or how we deal with things. So there might be a trigger from our environment, but at the end of the day, it is our own personality and behavior that makes us push ourselves to the limit to the point of burnout. Okay, so what are some of the internal causes of burnout? Next slide, please. Okay, so some of the internal factors, as I said earlier, this is personality related. So just check in with yourself whether these things you can identify with them. First is you have high expectations of yourself, very ambitious, and the tendency to be a perfectionist. So what happens when we have this tendency to be a perfectionist? We work much harder than everybody else. No? So sometimes I'm not saying being a perfectionist is not good, but there is a point where you also have to accept that, okay, we are okay with this for now. This is the level that we can do for now. We don't have to push ourselves to the limit just so we can have 100% or more than 100%. Number two, strong need for recognition. So very high achievers or people who are used to being praised, right? So I need to be recognized. So we push ourselves to the limit because we have this strong desire to be acknowledged and to be recognized. The third is always wanting to please people. So if your personality is such that it's hard for you to say no because you have been, I would say, maybe brought up to be of service and to help others, even to the point of depriving yourself of your own needs. And the fourth one is we only find meaning in our work. So work is what defines us. And so therefore, when things are not going well at work, whether in terms of our delivery of our assignments or the people that we work with our relationships or with the company, it affects us so much because it's the only thing that matters in our lives. And a lot of people, I think, in this day and age, really focus a lot on work. If you ask them uh, to talk about themselves, like, can you let me know who you are? Because I do this a lot in my, coaching work. This is describe who you are. Always the first thing that they talk about is what they do, not really who they are as a person. Like I have to ask, what are your hobbies and what do you like, which is really more of who you are. It's more, we identify more with what we do in this day and age. I do this is my title, I've been with this company, blah, blah, blah. So this is just for me an indication that work really occupies a very important part in our lives, and we spend a lot of time at work, right? Okay, so may I go to, can you please put on the next slide? The internal factors are actually more than four, but I just typed in four here for the sake of just looking at what really affects us in terms of generating or creating burnout. High demands at work. So are you working in a job, in a position, in a company that puts high demands on you? Meaning, maybe requiring you to work more than 8 hours a day, every day, continuously. You've not had a vacation for the longest time. Your boss, your clients, your staff call you even at night or even on the weekends. How many of you have jobs like that? Yeah. So you can say type one on the chat or message me directly if you are experiencing this. Because if you are in this kind of environment, this could actually lead to burnout. Second is bad atmosphere at work. If you experience bullying, if you don't have support of your team, if there's someone in your company that does not who doesn't like you and who makes life difficult for you, this could also be something that could lead to burnout. The third is lack of freedom to make decisions and autonomy. So if you are in a position where you're supposed to be able to make decisions, and yet probably your boss is some kind of a micromanager who always needs to see your work and which delays how you deliver your output, then this could be a source of burnout or stress for you. And the fourth is lack of resources, which is actually one of the factors that lead to stress. Okay, so tell me if you have identified with any of these factors. Just type in 1, 2, 3, or 4 if you have experienced it at work on the chat. Okay, 1 and 4. Yep. Yeah, well, if high demand at work and lack of resources is like a formula for for a very stressful job, right? High demand, lack of freedom to make decisions and autonomy. Okay, so a lot of the things that we experience externally or in our environment actually can be lumped together or grouped together as stress. It creates stress. When we lack resources, when the demand is very high, then this puts a lot of stress on us. So let's talk a little bit about stress. Move on to the next slide. Yep. So we don't have a poll for this, but I just want to see on a scale of 1 to 10, can you tell me what is your stress level right now? If 10 is the most stressful and 1 is I'm so chill, like, I'm always relaxed. Where are you at the moment? I see the same names. What about the others? 5 neutral. Okay. Okay. So most people scored more than 5. Okay. See, Feminina said 5 for now because she's doing this activity and so she doesn't feel so stressed. Okay, so let's talk about stress. Is stress really harmful? Can we live without stress? Would life be so much more better and enjoyable if we didn't have stress? Okay, if anyone answered 1, I don't have any kind of stress, what would life be like? Okay, so let's take a look at this chart that graphs or plots our response to, that compares rather our performance and its results to the stress level. So when we have very little stress, that means we are too laid back. We're also not going to be very happy. Like if you're working in a company and your boss says, hey, I'm giving you this assignment, but just do it whenever you have time. There's no deadline. You can go on vacation and I'll see you when I see you. When you have the output, just give it to me when you're ready. Like, how would you feel? Maybe in the beginning, you would be so happy. Oh my God, I don't have a deadline and I can do what I want, right? But at some point, you will not have enough motivation. Okay. And then we have this level of optimum stress where we are in the flow or in the zone. So we need this is called eustress or the good stress. So we need to have some kind of deadline. We need to work within certain constraints, budget, schedule, teams, and other resources that allows us to flow. So this is what we're looking for, to be in this state of not having too little stress or too much stress. But there is a point when we get to a level where we feel fatigue. When there's too much stress or we're overloaded, we will get exhausted. And the last part is when we get burned out. So we need to be able to watch out for this tipping point when fatigue turns into exhaustion, when you don't have time to do anything but work, right? So if you are at this stage, you have to watch out because you might get into this part and you don't want to be here. Did you know that burnout can be fatal? Yeah, if you get to this point, you can actually die from burnout. So you don't want that. And we've heard of people dying from burnout, right? I don't know if you heard of that news. I think in Japan, where someone had been dead for so many days, but the office mates didn't even know that this person was already dead because he was just, head on the table and they thought he was just resting. Working too hard led him to that point. Yep. So we have to be aware when it gets here. So we need to have some strategies so that we can manage stress. So this is not a stress management seminar, but we'll touch on it briefly so that you can pick up some hopefully new things that could help you. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we are in a stressful position, and usually stress happens when we don't have enough resources to do what we need to do. Nasa-stress tayo because, for example, we have a deadline and we can't meet it. If you are required to submit a report within 24 hours, and it will take 48 hours to do the report in your mind, then you will be under stress. If you have to deliver a project and your boss only gave you, let's say, 1 million pesos and you need 1.5 million, that's going to cause stress. So usually we feel stressed when we don't have the resources that we need to deliver what we need to do. So when we are in this situation, we first need to understand what we need to do, who needs the output and why, and how this particular assignment or project adds to our stress. And the fourth one, which I think is the most important, is how much control do you have over what is stressful? So if you think about it, some people, given the same condition, will react differently, or people would react differently to the same situation. So let's say there's 4 people in the team, and the boss gives the same assignment to each of these 4 people. Each of them will have a different response. Some people will immediately go into a stress mode. Some people will take it easy, probably be stressed towards the end of to the deadline date. Some people would immediately get to work. They want to finish it quickly so that they can relax for the last part. So we have different ways of dealing with things. So even if the trigger comes from an external source, in this case, it could be an assignment, it is how we process it and our own personality that will affect how we respond to it. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So I'm going to take you through a short exercise that will show you how the mind works and how a lot of the things which we think are, something that is caused by other people is actually caused by our own behavior. All right, so I can't see most of you. I think most of you have their cameras off, but that's okay. If you're welcome to turn on your videos. But wherever you are, I'd like you to just close your eyes for now. Just close your eyes. No big deal. And just imagine that you are home. If you're already at home, that's fine. That's easier. But imagine you're in your kitchen. You're in your kitchen. So you're walking in your kitchen, going to your refrigerator. Now you're opening your refrigerator. And I'd like you to open that bottom shelf where we usually put our vegetables. So open that compartment of your refrigerator and try to look for that bag of calamansi or lemon that you purchased over the weekend. Okay, so this is just an imagination. Just imagine there's a bag of calamansi or lemon in your refrigerator. Take it out, take one out rather. Take one out, close the door, go to the kitchen counter and look for a knife. Yep, and wash the lemon or the calamansi first, and then slice it. Now I'd like you to squeeze the lemon or the calamansi into your mouth. Okay, squeeze it. And now you're feeling the juice in your mouth. It touches your tongue. Okay, and then swallow it. Okay, now open your eyes. Okay, tell me on the chat box, what was your experience? How did you feel? Ang lamig ng ref. Okay. The ref is cold. Okay, what about the lemon or the calamansi? Did you taste it? Rosalie said, maasim. Feminina said, I winced when I imagined tasting the lemon. Katya said, it tastes tangy. Ashley said, relaxed. Okay. So, did you salivate? Did you have saliva in your mouth from just imagining that you are putting lemon or calamansi? Yes, right? A bit, right? So, this is a somatic response, a physiological response to a thought, to a thought that you are actually tasting lemon, but your body is already responding to it, even if it's just a thought. It's not actually happening. And mind you, your reaction will be the same if you were actually tasting the calamansi or the lemon. And so, what does this tell you? What does this tell you? Your body will react to your thought, whether it's real or imagined. And so if we bring it back to like that assignment, that hypothetical assignment that your boss gave you, and the moment you received it, you already thought about, oh my God, I have so much work already. I can't even, take weekends. My workload is over my head. And now there's a new assignment. So what do you think your body will feel? Your body will already feel stressed and you've not even started working yet. You're just thinking about how much stress this new assignment will cost you, will cost you. On the other hand, another person would say, oh, wow, another assignment. I have so much to do. But hey, this is such an exciting project. It's something new. I could learn so much from this. Maybe if I talk to my boss and switch my priorities, I'll be able to put in X number of hours every day to work on this project. I'm so excited to try it. And this person's body will be so happy and not stressed. So we create a lot of these things in our own minds. And so if we can manage how we think and how we perceive situations, half the battle is already won. We don't even have to worry about us being stressed because we can already deal with it, right? Because we already know how to manage it. We already know that your mind can create a lot of thoughts that your body will already respond to. So if we can manage our thoughts, then we can also manage our reaction to these stressful situations. Okay, so you may have some things or strategies already that you do to manage stress. So can you go on the chat box and share with me what are some of the things you do now to manage your stress? Okay, next slide, please, Ali. All right, I got one answer directly, playing games. How about the others? We have 67 participants. What are some of the things? Okay, shopping, prayer and meditation, breathing exercises, ice cream or food, watching Netflix, movies with the family, eating something sweet. Okay, breathing in and out, sleep, social media. Okay, so these are some of the strategies that we use to help us to manage stress. Listening to music, stress eating. Yeah. Okay, so now I'll share with you some strategies that I hope can help you to manage your stress. Okay, so let's move on to maybe two slides down. We don't have to show that anymore. All right. So here are some stress reduction tactics. The first one is, can you break big tasks into smaller ones? So sometimes when we see the big picture, we tend to be too stressed. But what can we deliver? Let's say the boss tells you, okay, your target production for this year is 20 million pesos. Oh, wow, 20 million. Where am I going to get that? But maybe if we break it down to, okay, what is 20 million divided by 12 months? So that's less than 2 million pesos a month. I think I can manage that. I think I can manage to sell less than 2 million pesos worth of our products every month. So it's just how we perceive our tasks. So if we can break it down into smaller ones, that's going to help us see this task as something that's achievable. Remember that stress happens when we feel we don't have enough resources. The second is delegation. Can I delegate the task to someone else? Now, if you're at the end of the line and people delegate everything to you, then you'll have to have a different strategy. But if you're a line manager, a supervisor, and you have people working with you, then can you delegate this task? Part of it, the entire thing, or can you coach someone so that they can do it? Because sometimes if you are a perfectionist and you always want to do things because you want things to be perfect, I have a perfectionist mother, and she would clean the house because nobody else could clean it to her satisfaction. And as a result, she always felt tired. For me, I like to clean, but I'd rather spend my time doing something else than clean. So I would hire someone to clean for me, even if, it's not perfect. So you can delegate some of the work. You don't have to be a perfectionist, okay? Or you can coach someone to do it. Now, if you're at the end of the line or you're at the receiving end of all this delegation, what can you do? Perhaps you can negotiate a change of terms. So if the deadline is 48 hours, can this be delivered in 3 days? Or can I switch priorities so that I can complete this? Which one takes precedence? Is it this report or this new report? Okay, we have to learn some ways to negotiate. And fourth, maybe find time. So how much time do you actually spend on social media that you could actually spend to study or work on a new project? Yeah, you might be surprised if you track your time, you're actually spending a lot of time on time wasters like social media and Netflix and all these other things. Okay, number five is you can also have some strategies to motivate yourself. And this is something that you alone can do. No? So there are some schools of thought that says motivation is built in and no one can motivate you. So you have to connect to your purpose. Why do you work? What do you find? What are your values that enable you to deliver what you need to deliver? Are you working for yourself, for your family, for humanity, for the greater good, for the country, regardless of what you are doing? So you always look at the big picture, and this is one thing that you could do to allow yourself to get motivated. I'll also share with you a technique. I don't know if you're familiar with this already. If you are, please share with me on the chat box if you are using this and if you are successful. Okay, this tool is called the Eisenhower Matrix. So can we show that, Ali? The Eisenhower Matrix allows us to categorize tasks as either urgent or important. Okay, so yes, okay, good. So Feminina, can you tell me, are you successful in using this? Does this allow you to manage your priorities or your assignments? So when we use the Eisenhower Matrix, we can categorize our tasks as either urgent and important, important but not urgent but not important, not urgent and not important. I think there's someone who's not muted. So hosts, can you please check? Okay, so what we want to do is to be able to spend more time in quadrant two, where we do things that are important but not urgent. So we don't want them to get to a point where everything is urgent and important. This is what creates a lot of stress and something that could lead to burnout. If everything is urgent and important, then that means you are usually in crisis mode. Okay, so we're doing things that are important but not very urgent. So we can schedule and plan properly. Okay, so now if something is given to you that's urgent but not important, then probably you can delegate it to something else. Now, if a task is not urgent and it's also not important, you just have to say no. Like, maybe they want you to head the sports committee for the summer this year, but you have so many things on your plate. Is that important to you? Okay, so maybe that will go into quadrant four, and you just have to say no. Rosalie said yes for our family small task and make schedule for the whole month. Very good. So if you have not yet used this tool, then this is something that you can use to manage your assignments. And the next strategy is learning to say no. Next slide, please. So if you're the type of person, as we said earlier, whose personality is such that you want to please others by suppressing your own needs, then you probably fall into this category of having difficulty saying no. Okay, so you just say yes and yes, accept and accept assignments. I remember I would tell my team before when I was still working in corporate, I said, I'm just gonna give you assignments until you say I can't do it anymore. Because I also don't monitor all the time their workload. So I'll just say this, and then unless you tell me that, hey, boss, I already have so much to do, then I won't know that you're already overloaded. So it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. So why don't you want to do it? It's just um, checking in also with yourself. What is your motive for saying no? Is it because you don't like it, or because you also don't have the time to do it? Or you want to do it, but you don't have time right now and you can do it another time? Now, saying no to something because you don't like it is very different, because often we will get challenged in a corporate setting to do things that we don't really like. This is also to help us develop other aspects of our personality, develop other skills, right? So we become a more well-rounded contributor to the business. So you have to ask this question: why do I want to say no? Is it because I have too much to do? I don't have time, but I really like to do it? Or can somebody else do it? Am I the only one who can do this? Okay. I'll just give you an example. When I was still in my IT company, because we were a startup, I was also one of the trainers. So aside from managing the company, I also do functional work. So I was one of the trainers. And I remember at that time, I was delivering a course, um, and this particular product, there was no one else who could do it. I was the only one who could teach it. And my father was very, very sick at that time. And it was the last day of the training. And I knew that was going to be probably that if I teach this class today, I'm not going to see my father alive. I knew that the day before. So I was finding someone to teach it. It was the last course in like a 3-week program, last day. And I couldn't find anyone to teach it. Yeah. So even if I wanted to say no, I couldn't because nobody else can deliver it. So what did I do? I did all the lectures in the morning, and I said, I have a personal emergency and I'll do all the lectures in the morning. And so you can do all the uh, homework or the exercises at the end, and someone else will come in to check. Yeah. So you can have certain strategies and, you know, think of ways so that you can still do the work and or negotiate how you can deliver it without really saying no. So you're saying no without really saying no. This is the kind of strategy that I'm saying. So it will depend on how you say it, your tone of voice, and how you look when you say no. So here are some tips. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, when you say no, make sure you have an alternative or at least a reason for saying no. And don't just say, I just don't like it. Like, if you were the boss and you say, I don't like it, it's going to be a huge trigger. If I were the boss, that's going to be a very big trigger for me. And don't say, I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just explain. It's not an alibi. It's not an excuse. Focus on why you can't do it or prefer not to do it, or maybe even disagree about the assignment. Yeah. So, but you have to reason in a way that it's not going to antagonize also your teammates or your boss. Okay, next slide, please. When saying no, acknowledge the request and state why you cannot do it, but focus on what you can do, not on what you can't. And also offer alternatives. So for example, if someone asks you to deliver a presentation that you have to prepare at least a few days for because you don't have the materials on hand, but it's something that you can do, then you can just say, thank you for choosing me to deliver this presentation. I am really very honored that you chose me. Unfortunately, at this time, I have already made commitments to such and such groups to deliver also certain programs, but I would really love to do this another time. Is there another schedule where I can help you to deliver this program? So you have an alternative. You did not focus on what you cannot do, and you were able to state why you cannot do it, right? So because people have a difficult time saying no, they need some kind of structure to be able to help them to do it. Okay, so if you're one of those, please screenshot what you see on the screen now and try to practice it. Okay, so write down, think of a situation. We won't have time to share this, but right now, just think of a situation where you experience that you were forced to do something which you didn't like to do. So just think of that. And now look at all these steps that I have shared with you. And then after this, just write down how you could have said no or how you could have responded differently. Yeah. So think of a situation where you felt forced to do something or you didn't like it or you felt bad about the assignment. And then see whether these particular steps would work. Write it down and you can share it. Yeah, share it. Maybe you can share it with the parties or the organizers. Share your experience. There are other things that I'd like to teach you, so we can't do the journaling as I had intended for today. But anyway, you can do that later. And even just contemplate on it or think about it, whether this is something that would really be useful. Okay, and so the next part of our presentation is about energy. And as I mentioned, um, burnout is really all about depletion and exhaustion. So most people, when they say they burned out, it's exactly what they feel, right? So I feel so tired, I'm exhausted, I'm burned out. Yeah, so we use that term a lot. But what can we do about our energies? How do we manage our energies? So next slide, please. Did you know that your body is like a cell phone? Okay, you have your hardware, which is your physical body. You have the software, which are your emotions and your thoughts. Those are your software. And you also have a battery. You have a battery and an antenna. Okay, you have a battery that gets charged by many different sources and it powers you. So when we don't charge our bodies, then we would really go into depletion. Okay. So think, if you don't charge your cell phone, what's going to happen? Maybe the next day you will be low bat. Your phone will be low bat and you'll start looking for a power bank. Unfortunately, we don't have, but I'll teach you later. You will have a portable power bank or something that you can use to recharge you very quickly. Okay? So just think, you have a battery in your body, in many different parts of your body, and also in the outer layer of your body that absorbs energy from the environment to charge you. Okay? So just on the chat box, tell me, what do you think are our energy sources, or where do we derive energy from? Okay, write down. There's no right or wrong answer. Rest, food, coffee, sleep, family, sleep, food, spiritual rest. Probably you mean prayer, mass, retreat, right? Sleep, family. All right. So I'm going to share with you other sources of energy that you probably are not aware of, and you can tap on these sources to recharge you. Can we have the next slide, Ali? Okay, the first one is oxygen. Okay, so oxygen is very, very important for our energy. If you don't breathe properly, then chances are you will get depleted very quickly. And so if you're doing yoga, tell me on the chat if you are a yoga practitioner or you do some kind of breath practice, chances are you will have more energy than some other people. Because most people only breathe in a very shallow way. And so therefore we don't get as much oxygen. Also, the quality of the air that we breathe, especially if you're living in cities, You're in your office, in your room, in the vehicles that you ride day to day to go to work. You're always in an air conditioned room. So the quality of the air that you're getting is really not good enough. So any chance you get, breathe fresh air. That's gonna give you a lot of energy. It helps with converting whatever you have. For metabolism, oxygen is important. It's also very important for detoxification. The second source of energy is the sun. Okay, so we learned about vitamin D during COVID, but we don't really know how fortunate we are. Apologies for the barking dog. Okay, so the sun is very, very important for our health and for our energy. So again, if you are going to work very early in the day, leaving at night, chances are you don't get sun exposure. But we live in an area where we get plenty of sun all year round. So take advantage of it. I encourage you to take a sun bath every day. Go out for like 10 to 15 minutes and expose yourself to the sun without sunblock. You can cover your face. You know, if you're scared of getting, dark spots on your face, just expose the chest and the arms and cover the rest of your body with hat. Maybe over lunch break. Yeah. So actually the best time to go out in the sun is between for vitamin D, 10 to 3, contrary to what people say about when do you get sunburn. Okay. So, and also one way you can get sun energy is by exposing your water in the sun, especially in the morning. Put it in a glass bottle or a stainless steel bottle, never plastic, and allow the sun's energy to be absorbed by the water, and you can drink that. You can also use that for bathing to address skin issues. Yeah. So the sun is so powerful as a source of energy, and that we don't even think about it as an energy source, right? So what do you think will happen if tomorrow the sun decided not to shine? Let's say sunset. Okay, there's no sunrise and sunset tomorrow. I'll just rest for maybe a week. We will die. Everything will die. Plants will die. Animals will die. We will die. That's how important the sun is. So grab as much energy from the sun as you can. The third source of energy is chi or prana. These are biomolecules that are available in our environment. When we breathe, this gets integrated into the oxygen molecules in the air, and this gives us power and vitality. There are places that are high in chi or prana. This is when you go to forests, beach resorts or beaches, bodies of water, streams, waterfalls, mountains. So these are areas with a lot of chi or prana. So whenever you can, get out. And this is the reason why you feel so recharged when you go to the beach, when you go to nature, take a walk in the park. The air or the earth has a lot of prana. So any chance you get, go barefoot, connect to the soil, and even gardening, that gives you a lot of earth energy as well. All right. And then fourth is plants. And this is the reason I think why many people became plantitos and plantitas during the pandemic. We were all locked up, depleted of energy, feeling sad, depressed, scared, and plants give off a lot of oxygen and it recharges us. So I think our bodies were craving for energy because of the lockdown, and we found it in plants. Okay, next slide, please. 3 more sources of energy. The next one is water. So make sure to hydrate. Good water. Please do not drink distilled water because that has nothing in it. It's flat. It's good for your car, but not good for you. You can drink filtered water, but not distilled water. At least put in some minerals in your water. Okay, food. I saw food in your in the chat box earlier as your energy sources. Yes, food is a good source of energy, but it has to be the right kind of food. So whole foods are the best source of energy because they have vitamins and minerals. If you eat a lot of packaged food, anything that is in a pack and has label that you have to open does not give you so much energy. It's mostly processed, overly processed, and can contain chemicals that will not really charge you. So get vitamins and minerals from whole foods as close to their natural form as possible. and cooked in a way where you can still get the vitamins and minerals. So nothing overly cooked, fried, baked, grilled, which are the Filipino favorite foods, right? Barbecue, fried. You don't really get so much energy from that. Okay, contrary to what you think. And the last is other sources, including people's. A lot of you said family, right? Places, spiritual rest. When you go to church, temples, yoga studios, spas, you get recharged. So these are things that could give a lot of energy for us. But just to also share with you, next slide, please. You also have energy centers in your body that you can charge on demand to make sure that you do not get to the point of exhaustion. While I am a specialist in burnout, I would rather you don't get to the point of burnout. So I'm going to teach you some strategies to avoid burnout by introducing you to this concept that we have energy centers in our body that we can activate and charge on demand. Okay, so there are several energy centers in our body, and some of you may have heard of the term chakra, especially if you have done yoga or do meditation. So this is common in those practices, but the term is not important. These are parts of your body that influence your organs and systems to become more active, and I'll share them with you, four of them with you today. So next slide, please. So we have the crown, the ajna, the heart, and the navel chakras that could help you with your energy. And I'll talk about each one in a little bit more detail in the next slide. Okay, so first let's talk about the crown chakra. So the crown chakra is at the top of your head. So go ahead and touch the top of your head. So in Tagalog, we call this bumbunan. Okay, so the crown of your head. Okay, so there's an energy center there which stimulates your pineal gland. The pineal gland is a tiny gland that's in the center of your head that regulates sleep and produces melatonin. So if you have any sleep issues, you need to stimulate this energy center. Okay, it is also your connection to a higher source. So if you believe in spirituality, this is your connection to your soul. It's also the center of your psychic intelligence or wisdom or intuition. Or not intuition, sorry, psychic intelligence is here, or spiritual intelligence. All right? The next energy center is your ajna. It's between your eyebrows. So again, put your two fingers to the point between your two eyebrows here. You can even stimulate it, rotate, yeah, clockwise. Okay, so don't look at it or you might get cross-eyed. Okay, just massage that part. That's your ajna. And then you can take your hand down. It stimulates your pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland has to do with your endocrine system or your hormones. So when you experience imbalances in your hormones, that could also cause adrenal fatigue and all these other diseases that could affect your energy levels. It also stimulates your mind. Okay, so your abstract mind. So this is the key to stimulating mental intelligence. So if you are unmotivated, you cannot focus, you can stimulate this energy center to help you. Okay, the third energy center is your heart. Touch the center of your chest. Okay, so this is where your thymus gland is located. So it's very good for your immune system. So the heart chakra or energy center stimulates your thymus gland. So if your thymus gland is active, then your immune system is strong. So it will help you to prevent or to help to prevent diseases or any infection. It's also the center of love, peace, and conscience, and the seat of your emotional intelligence. And then the last one is your navel. So go ahead and find your navel. You might have to sift through some fat like myself, yeah, to find your navel. It is the center of your internal power and your longevity and controls your instinctive intelligence, your gut. This is the secret. This is your secret power bank. Okay, so now I'll take you through two exercises to teach you how to stimulate this um, energy centers or chakras. Next slide, please. The first one that I'm going to teach you is called synchronized breathing. Okay, so it is a breathing technique where you will inhale oxygen through the nose and then exhale by blowing through the mouth. Okay, so imagine that you are blowing a candle. So do this with me. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Again, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Okay, so look at my face when I exhale, like I'm blowing a candle. Okay, so now when we inhale, let's tilt our head up. Make sure you don't have any neck issues. Okay, if you have any neck issues, please don't do this. If you have hypertension, also please do not do this. Okay, otherwise, and also if you're experiencing headache right now, don't do this. All right, so if you're not feeling any of those, then do this with me. Inhale as you tilt your head up, look up at the ceiling, and then as you exhale, tuck your chin in and blow through your mouth. All right, let's do that together 10 times and begin. Last. Okay, close your mouth and just breathe in and out through your nose normally. Now touch the center of your chest and focus on that point as you breathe. You can keep your eyes closed if you like, or just gaze down on your table in front of you. Very soft gaze. Again, synchronized breathing, 10 counts, and begin. Last. Close your mouth and breathe through your nose. If you're feeling a little bit dizzy, that's normal. That just means there's too much oxygen in your head. Just shake your head. It should go away. Okay, keep your head in the center and this time focus between your eyebrows, your ajna. Keep your attention there as you breathe. Again, synchronized breathing. This time, let's just do 8 counts. Begin. Last. Now focus on the top of your head. Close your mouth as you breathe through your nose. Focus on the top of the head. Gentle breathing. Last time, 8 count, synchronized breathing, and begin. Last. This time, focus on all 3 points simultaneously. The center of your chest, between your eyebrows, and the top of your head. All 3 points as you breathe. Okay, if your eyes are closed, you may open them now and you can shake your head. Okay, how did that feel? Can you give me some comments on the chat? How did that feel? Relaxing. I feel lightweight. Okay, relaxed. All right. So this is a technique or a tool that you can use anytime. I would recommend doing it before you go to bed if you have a difficult time sleeping. You can also do it before you do a presentation or before a meeting to balance, center, and align you. You can do it before you have a difficult conversation with someone you work with a client, yeah, to relax you. If you're feeling too heady or too brainy, then focus on your heart. If you need more focus, motivation, focus on your ajna. If you need to sleep or feel like you need to find more meaning in your life, connect more with your crown. Or if you want to be balanced, connect to all three. Okay? Any questions about this practice? Okay, I'm conscious of time. I know we're 3 minutes over time. Do you still want me to teach you the navel breathing, which is your portable power bank? Ali and the rest of the Quintegral team, is it okay? Yes, please, according to James. Okay, I hope it's okay, hosts. All right, so if you feel you need to go, please you can leave quietly. I won't feel bad. I understand people are on a tight schedule. Okay, so with the navel breathing, this is your, as I said and promised, your portable power bank. And you can do this to recharge, okay? Because as we said, this is the center of your energy, your navel. So I'd like you to place your right hand underneath your navel. Your right hand underneath your navel. Let me just bring my computer down so it's easy for you to see what I'm doing. Right hand underneath your navel and place your left hand above the right hand. And then connect your thumbs together so that your hands form a circle around your navel. Okay, so this is easier. Just close your eyes and breathe normally through your nose. Close your mouth and just imagine that you are breathing in and out through your navel. There's nothing to do here but to breathe. Just relax your shoulders and your arms. Breathe in and out through the nose, but imagine you are breathing through the navel. Anyone can do this, by the way, even kids, older people. Just relax as you breathe. If you get distracted, your mind goes somewhere else. When you realize you're distracted, just bring your attention back to the navel. I will go on mute So you will have peace and quiet for a few minutes as you do this exercise, but I will be here, don't worry. Just bring focus back to the navel if you get distracted. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose, gently and softly. Okay, now without opening your eyes if they are closed, just press your thumbs, both thumbs, to your navel as if you're pushing something in. And then silently say to yourself, absorb, assimilate, and store. Absorb, assimilate, and store. Absorb, assimilate, and store. And then move your hands up and down and shake your navel. All right. And if your eyes are closed, you can open them now. How did that feel? What's the experience like for those of you who joined? Are you guys still awake? Because some of you fell asleep. Feel relief. I feel energetic. Did anyone feel like the navel was warm? A sense of warmth in the belly? Sometimes that can happen, yeah? Yes, because this hand gesture creates a magnet. Yeah, it channels the energy to your navel. So do this anytime. After eating, it will help with your digestion. If you're constipated, you do this also. This will help a lot. You can do this if you're commuting and you're not driving. You can do this 5, 10 minutes. Do it before you go to bed, even while lying down. When you're in a Zoom meeting and you're just listening, put your hands around your navel and just recharge. Yeah, you can do this in stealth mode. All right, it will also help to ground and calm you. Okay, so I think we introduced several strategies that you can use moving forward to help you manage your stress, to help prevent you from experiencing burnout. So I just like to ask before we say goodbye on the chat box. Next slide, please, Ali. What is one thing you can start doing tomorrow from everything you've learned today? What is one thing you can start doing tomorrow to help reduce your stress? So, breathing technique. Okay, so we did the synchronized breathing. We also had navel breathing. We also had techniques on how to say no. I hope you can also think about how you will practice that. And also the Eisenhower Matrix, which you can use to prioritize your tasks. Also, different energy sources to recharge you. Absorb the energy from the sun midday. Yes. Try to get more sun, eat healthier, learn to say no without saying no. Good. All right. So those of you who did not respond on the chat box, I hope you are still there and listening. You don't have to share anything, any of your strategies, but I hope you can think about doing something different for you. And I'd like to leave you with this very nice quote from the Dalai Lama on our next slide. When he talked about humanity, he said, "We sacrifice our health to make money, then we sacrifice money to recuperate when we are sick. We worry too much about the future that we don't enjoy the present. And the result is either that we don't live in the present or the future. We live as if we are never going to die, but after we die, we have never really lived." Yeah, so something to think about. Okay, so thank you everyone for your attendance today. For those who were interacting with me on the chat, I really appreciate it. It's good to see that people are really listening to you. It's so difficult when you're in an online meeting. But thank you. Thanks to Quintegral for this opportunity. And I hope we will be able to touch base with each other again soon. All right, I'd like to turn you over now to Ali to conclude our session today. Thank you, Ali, and everyone behind the scenes.
Yes, thank you, Miss Dina, again for this very wonderful session. I'm sure everyone really enjoyed it. If you like what you learned here from us about burnout, stress management, energy management, and whatnot, and all other related topics, you can reach out to us through our different social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, and also our website, and even our email solution@quintegral.com. If you have any questions or inquiries, you can reach out to us over there. Yeah, and also we'd love to hear your feedback. Please, if you could take a minute or two to leave us your feedback of this event, it would be very much appreciated. So we could still provide more events like this in the future. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Thank you for coming, everyone.
Ali, if they want to do Q&A and if you guys are free, I can stay behind for maybe about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure. If there are still some questions that you'd like to be answered by Miss Dina, please let us know through the chat box.
What is the best way to approach a burnt out colleague? I would say maybe give some feedback. First of course, you have to ask permission. To ask permission if you can give feedback and talk about how you are sensing his or her behavior or tendencies recently. Just come from a place of care so that he or she will not come into a defense mode. Because usually when we tell people something and they feel criticized, then they will have a wall and then we cannot proceed further. Just come from your perspective and just say, I feel recently that you are not, as active or not participating in our activities, and I notice as well that you're you feeling tired more of, I see you sleeping a lot and stuff like that, without criticizing. So that's, I think, the best way. Yeah, and then from there maybe you can refer her or him to just, there are some questionnaires online where you can really test whether you're experiencing burnout or not. So they can do that, and then you can refer them to people who can help. Yeah, I would welcome the opportunity to help her if she wants to, him or her, if they really need it. Yeah, so you can just ask Ali for my contact details. Yeah, so yeah, but if you will be able to help, that will be best so that they will not go to the point where it's very hard to address. All right. I don't think we have other questions, Ali. You're welcome.
I think everyone is just really glad to be able to attend today's event. So thank you also again to everyone. I will stop sharing now. Okay. So if all of us are good, I think we can end this session already. Again, thank you so much from all of us at Quintegral, our team, and also Miss Dina. Thank you. Thank you for attending this event with us today. And we hope you have a great week ahead, great day ahead. We'll see you in the next events that we will be having. Hope to see you there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.